What's going on, everyone? My name is Brent, and welcome to another episode of the Work in Progress After Dark podcast. I think this is my third one this week. I'm hitting the new year hard, but I am joined by someone who I've been wanting to talk to for a while. We're frenemies on in the social media space. Lucas from WNDRSOUL. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. I've been looking forward to a conversation with you for a while.
Oh yeah, man. I've been tossing and turning about how this conversation would go. Because I think I think we both have a passion for the topics that we're probably going to talk about. But I don't know if we actually see eye to eye on certain things, but that's sometimes hard to convey, man. Like,
Sure.
Even though I listen to your videos and stuff and listen to you really go into good detail about like why you feel the way you feel, I think sometimes it's even better to have like kind of open dialogue and talk about it. So yeah, man. But thanks for having me on, man. I really do appreciate it. Yeah.
So just as usually how I like to kick these off, just to kind of like get to know my guests. Like what have you been watching lately? What have you been playing lately? Since we're probably going to talk both about gaming and anime tonight.
Yeah. Let's see, man. Where to begin? Well, with anime, oddly enough, I've been getting into a lot of slice of life anime, which I haven't really dove into.
Okay.
And I don't know if it was just because the holidays. I don't know what it was, man, but I just started to go down that rabbit hole. So I've watched ones like Laid Back Camp.
Okay.
I think it's called After School Dice Club, which is actually got me into wanting to get into like tabletop games a lot and board games and things. But yeah, I've been trying out different ones like that. And I started watching Mob Psycho for the first time. Really good. And
I've heard that's really good. Apparently that's peak Bones.
Whoa, man. Oh yeah, it is, mate. It's the same studio that's doing My Hero, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, man. And the animation is just stellar. I actually picked up the first volume of the manga for just fun, and the comedy is it's on point, man. But it's really good. It's kind of like a good mix of like action shonen type vibes with your like slice of life stuff. Which I mean, you're a fan of like Persona 5, which I feel like kind of gives you that balance, right? So
it gives you a little bit of everything.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it. And then My Hero, I actually held out on for a minute. I wanted to hot topic, but I wanted to watch it in dub, man. I
Not
have
a
my
hot
own
topic with me. I'm dub all the way, so it's all good.
Okay, cool. Well, I also was introduced to My Hero, I think few seasons in, and so dub was already out, but that's how I was introduced. And my stance real quick on it is usually however I am introduced to an anime, whether it's sub or dub, that's the one I kind of like roll with. And so with My Hero, I just love the dub cast, and I grew really attached to all those voice actors. Like when I think of those characters, I hear those voices, right? But I have watched the sub. I do like it, but I was like, you know what? I already know what's going to happen because I'm caught up on the manga. And I was like, well, let me just like hold out a little bit. And so I think I caught up like last week for the most part.
Nice.
I'm pretty sure I'm caught up. I don't know how many details you want to get into with that. Well, I'm sure we'll talk about it later, but yeah. So really that's it on anime. And then with video games, man, real quick, just like I've been playing a lot on my Switch because of like all of the sales, and I've been working a lot. So it's great to just bring to work, and in between doing things, I can like jump on Hades. My girlfriend got me into Stardew Valley.
Nice.
Oh man. Oh gosh, man. A lot of rabbit holes lately, dude. But some indie titles and a lot of Switch right now. I know I defend the Xbox a lot, and I have it right there, but I haven't really been playing it a lot recently. And I've been playing Divinity Original Sin 2. You ever heard of that?
I've heard of it. I just don't know much about it.
Oh man, I got into this like whole tactical turn-based RPG kick recently. So it's pretty much like that. It's really good. Long game, but it's awesome co-op. And me and my girlfriend have been running a campaign with it. So
nice.
But yeah, that's pretty much it recently, man. Yeah. Mostly
That's dope. So prior to the podcast, I suggested that I because I really want for you to fully understand my stance on certain things. I sort of requested for you to interview me as opposed to me interview you.
Sure,
So,
sure.
do you have some questions for me? So that way we can kind of get to the bottom of our weird sort of rivalry.
Do I have some questions for you, man? I did
All
write
right,
down
let's
some
do it.
questions. Like, let's see. To be honest, there is only one question on here that I think I want to start off with, and I'm
Okay.
sure that it will just open up a whole other dialogue, right?
Sure.
But I just got to know, man, like, why do you hate Xbox so much, man?
I don't hate Xbox.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. If anything, and I know this is going to sound really is conceited the word or arrogant or I don't know. If anything, I am one of Xbox's biggest supporters. I want them to succeed. I just don't like how they're going about it.
Really?
Okay.
Okay.
So I think let's start with Game Pass. I think Game Pass is actually a brilliant piece of technology, a brilliant platform. There's no denying that it is inexpensive. Okay. It's like, like it honestly, if I grew up and Game Pass was available, that's probably what I would have had. I mean, because I didn't have the luxury of being able to go out and buy video games whenever I wanted to. I grew up in a broke family, so therefore any video games I got were birthdays and Christmases and like maybe surprise, you could buy one thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I only ever really had maybe like five, six, maybe 10 at the max video games at any given time between the ages of say 12 to 20.
Okay.
20 is when I really started getting the big boy money and I could start doing my own stuff. So, so Game Pass would have been perfect for me as a kid because most families can afford $15 a month.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is, it's like, what is it? $10 on PC, $15 on.
Yeah, I think it's $14.99, but that also includes Xbox Live too. I think.
Okay, cool.
Pretty sure. So.
So Game Pass is a fantastic platform, but for me, it doesn't have any games on it that I want to play. So there's the first issue that I have with it. Yes, it is a great platform, and there's a ton of games on there that just they're not particularly my style. My whole thing is, I work full time. I work on California time. So I live on, cause I run a business back in California, from home. And so I work 11:30 a.m. to 8 p.m. So I have weird hours. So I do that 40 hours a week. Sometimes upwards of 50 hours a week, depending on if I want to work on the weekends or not.
Right.
So my time to play video games is, so I guess I have a whole bunch of different things that I enjoy doing. I enjoy watching anime. I enjoy playing video games. I like to sometimes go out and do other things. Like in a couple weeks, I'm going to go see That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime movie. And that little adventure in of itself is probably an entire day, because I have to drive 2 hours just to get to a movie theater that will play it.
Oof.
So
and hold it. Isn't that so inconvenient though with anime movies that they're not just like at every theater?
Yeah,
I've had to drive far to go see Dragon Ball and My Hero and Demon Slayer, I think.
Well, okay, so it's just where I'm located. I live in rural Kentucky.
Okay.
So
it's more just your area, like
it's just more than my area.
Okay.
Because when I lived in California, I could go watch Mugen Train or World Heroes Mission 15 minutes away. It was a non-issue. It's just where I'm specifically located. So the point that I'm trying to make is that my time is very limited. So if I'm going to play, and I know this might sound really cliche, basic or whatever, I'm usually going to be playing the big stuff, right? The big games that are coming out, and the ones that everyone are talking about. Don't get me wrong. There are there are other games that I do like to play, and there's other games that I like to try. Sometimes they don't always resonate. A big one, so a big one is Hades. I'm not a big fan of Hades, but I'm not a big fan of that specific type of game, the
Like
roguelike.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just they kind of rub me the wrong. I'm not good at them. Let's just put it at that. I'm not good at them.
Yeah.
Anyway, so right now, Game Pass doesn't have games that I want to play on it. So I ended up canceling my service a few months ago. I like to joke about this. Like, I was kind of joking with some friends the other day. Is like, I'm not giving Phil Spencer my money. I'm just gonna buy it off Steam. But honestly, I'm probably gonna re-up my Game Pass to try the big stuff that Xbox is finally getting this year.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, so yeah, it's going to be a great, it's a great platform. I'm going to get to play Starfield on it. I'm going to get to play Redfall on it. Two games that I'm really looking forward to.
Right.
Despite like the thing is when and if you have another question for me, just tell me to shut up and I'll answer it. But Bethesda games are always a little like here's the thing. Ever since the Cyberpunk debacle and the fact that CD Projekt Red caught a lot of crap for that. In my opinion, since ZeniMax, Bethesda, ZeniMax, the parent company of Bethesda, was bought by Microsoft, $1 trillion company. Starfield has no excuses for being perfect at launch. That's just. I know that like I know that is a really tall, that's a really high order to ask for. But if you think about it, I don't really think that we should be demanding excellence from these people, because what you and I are approximately the same age, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm 33. So
yeah, I'm 32. So
okay, so we grew up in the same time.
Yeah,
we did not have day one patches.
No.
We didn't. I think day one patches are amazing. I love day one patches. I like patches because a game on a PlayStation 2 or early Xbox, if they were messed up, they were done. You're out $60. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, you got a good point with that. But it's also become kind of a crutch for the industry to release things early and not too standard, right? Kind of gives them a little loophole for that. They're like, oh man,
there needs to be balance. There really needs to be balance. Okay. So where was I going at with this? So
you said you didn't like Bethesda, which I get that. Like,
I like Bethesda, but they can no longer be buggy Bethesda anymore. They're
Fallout 76 type vibes and things of that nature that have just been kind of subpar.
What? I'm sorry, one more time with that question.
Well, no, I'm saying like Fallout 76, right? And some of the things that they put out recently really haven't hit that mark. Like, even people talk about Fallout 4. Like, people don't really like that so much. So
yeah, I mean, Fallout 4 is all right. I liked Fallout 4.
I mean, it's all right.
But the thing is, like, don't get me wrong, the bugs in Bethesda games are fun. They're fun, like they're entertaining. But like, if CD Projekt Red can't get away with it and they're an independent studio, then Bethesda should no longer be allowed to get away with it. They're a first party studio that belongs to one of the biggest tech companies on the planet.
Yeah.
So I demand excellence there.
Well, so to that point,
okay,
like recently Cyberpunk also just won, like, didn't they just win the Steam Awards for Labor of Love?
Yeah,
but then like on the same day they have like $1 million like lawsuit that they had to settle with their investors because they basically misled them. So the industry as a whole is like really messy right now. But I understand what you're saying as far as like, hey, you're one of the big dogs. Like, this should be a good product right out the gate. And there's a lot of hype to it, man. And really a lot of the times most games don't really live up to that. I think one of the ones that for most people, I think would be like Elden Ring, which that had a lot of hype. Now that's a Souls type game. So for some people it might not. I know you've said that you're like, it's just open world Dark Souls, right?
Yeah.
Which it really is. Like, I mean, I get that. But for people who really love that, like that fan base, like people who like roguelikes, you know, there are these new genres of like gamers, like people who like battle royales, people who, you know, it's not so much what we grew up with, which was pretty limited. You know, you had RPGs, first person shooters didn't really become a thing until like later, like 360, PS2, like even like think about like those ones, they weren't that good.
Once the online competitive aspect was added,
yeah,
that's when it took off. I mean, what was that? Late Halo 1?
Yeah, I mean the Xbox with Xbox Live and Halo 1, yeah.
And
then and then 360 PS3, I feel like that's really when video games at that point felt like they had entered mainstream. At least I noticed a lot of friends that I knew growing up didn't game, were now gaming, but they were like playing Call of Duty or Madden or, you know, stuff like that, which are to this day, regardless, like some of the top selling games out there all the time. Which, and those are even subpar quality and make a ton of money every year. So, and I'd be surprised if Starfield doesn't get delayed, man. But I feel like there's too much pressure from Microsoft. They're like, dude, we need this. Like, we really, please, we need something. Like, I get it. Sony just had Horizon, God of War. They're about to kick off the year with Last of Us TV show. Then I saw there was a teaser trailer or like behind the scenes for a Gran Turismo movie. I'm like, okay, so Sony's like expanding into other entertainment arenas, and then they're also bringing their stuff to Steam. So yeah, I totally get that Microsoft has a lot of, you know, a lot riding on Starfield and stuff. But man, Game Pass, dude, like you say, we're close in age. And so for me, also kind of like not being able to buy games all the time, renting games, trying out games allowed me to discover games that I never would have been able to just throw money at and own. And then it's also like, you know, low risk, high reward. In my opinion, I pay $15 a month. And like you, I work full time, and time is precious to everyone, you know, and especially as you get older, man, you don't have time to game like you used to. So I feel like Game Pass allows you to go, okay, instead of giving $70 or $60 for High on Life, I can just try it out on Game Pass. And
you know, yeah, I definitely can see and understand the appeal of that. I'm not like I'm really disappointed. My buddy Jeremiah, who's frequently on these podcasts, I invited him on, but this was really impromptu. And he just couldn't make it, but that's fine. But he's actually expressed that same sentiment. It's like, hey, you know, Xbox Game Pass is a really great way of, so he was like, the biggest example that he used was Scorn. He's like, I played 2 hours of Scorn and I hated it. I'm glad I didn't like it. He's like, I'm glad I didn't buy it. But the thing is, in that same kind of vein, lately there hasn't even been games on there that I want to try. That I just that just like so that's kind of that's just an issue for me right there. There was, you know, don't get me wrong, there was actually some really cool, like I played Spiritfarer on Game Pass. That was really enjoyable. And I think I had of course the Master Chief Collection I was playing with some friends, but like there comes a point where it's like, okay, well, give me something new, give me something new. And I think technically right now Xbox has more first party studios now than PlayStation does. And
that would make sense.
And look, I understand that it takes many years to get games out. And so Xbox is, you know, they're still trying to get those games going from the studios that they just bought. And they're finalizing the games that were acquired during development, and they're going to start rolling those out this year, which is great. I I think another issue that Xbox has, and I can say this about PlayStation 2. So let's just I'll backtrack that. It's not an Xbox issue, it's an industry issue.
Okay.
Announcing games too early.
Yeah.
Like, when are we going to see stuff on Fable? Give me Fable. I want to play Fable. I love Fable.
Yeah, I think like when was it? Like I think we got that in the new Elder Scrolls like little teasers. They were no gameplay, just kind of like a title card and like something. I think we got those at the same time. Was that an E3 event or
that was E3? That would have been E3
21?
20. No, because
20...
Starfield, Elder Scrolls 6 were announced at the same time.
Yeah.
I think that was
that Bethesda's own? Was that their own event? Wasn't it? Right?
No, it was during E3. It was a Bethesda E3 conference.
Oh, okay.
And I want to say that it was 2018.
Whoa! What?
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Was that 2018?
I feel like
maybe it was 2017.
Whoa, I don't know,
because they announced Fallout 76 at the same time.
So announcing and then like the little teaser trailers that we've gotten, are you talking about the same thing? Because I feel like there was rumors of Fable for a long time, but we always knew we were going to get another Fallout and Elder Scrolls, which I hope they are doing a Fallout TV show. I think on Amazon Prime too.
Yeah, they are.
We'll see how that goes. Yeah, I hope all these video game adaptations do well, but that's neither here nor there. Because they're also doing God of War, right? Something like that.
It's like, here's the thing. Like, I'm one of those kind of like sticklers where it's like, you know what? Like, sometimes video games should just stay video games, and sometimes books should just stay books, and sometimes anime should just stay animated. It's just like,
yeah. I think there's going to be a live action My Hero coming out soon. So, yeah, I think Lionsgate has the rights to the live action. Man.
Oh no.
Yeah, dude.
No.
We'll probably get like John Cena as All Might or something.
That would be sick. Okay.
Nah, what?
Okay, John Cena as muscular All Might. That would be sick.
Oh yeah, but then they would do like the Captain America, like Chris Evans little CGI thing. Remember in the first Captain? Yeah, when he's skinny, but he's got his normal head.
Yeah,
God, that'd be terrible.
But yeah, so I.
So you say it's an industry thing.
About announcing games too early.
Announcing games too early. Is Sony been doing that? Nintendo does that. Nintendo's actually, I think, out of all of them, Nintendo's the best because they do those directs and they're like, okay, this is what's happening in the next 6 months or the next year. The only thing that they probably get a little trouble in is like Zelda and some other like Metroid Prime 4. They were like, yeah, this is going to happen, and we haven't heard it. It was like years ago now.
I know, that was a long time. Well,
Oh, go ahead.
No, that one's in developmental hell right now, from my understanding. It's in development hell right now, big time.
I think they're also waiting for some new hardware from Nintendo. So
yeah. So how much of the show that got you the show that sort of triggered this conversation? How far into it did you get?
I pretty much would listen to the whole thing. I'm pretty sure while I was at work. Yeah. No, yeah, I check out things when I can, man. But it was the part when you were like on this Xbox rant, and then like you said something about Zelda being overrated, and I was like, that's it, bro. That's it. I can't do this. I'm like in the background because I was working, and I'm like, what is this man talking about? I said, I don't usually do this, and then because I was just like, wow. I was like, man, like we've been following each other, and I don't even know how that even occurred, but I know that we shared similar interests in some key places. My Hero definitely being a big thing, and then anime in general, video games in general. But then like the more I was like, oh, this dude really likes Sony, man. He loves Square Enix. He loves Japanese JRPGs. It seems like you said just earlier, you're like, I like the big games, the main games, but I feel like you're not always in that. You kind of have you like niche games. Like Persona 5's not for everyone. It's an
No.
amazing game, from what I've heard, because I haven't played the
Oh,
whole
yeah.
thing. I actually have a PS4 copy that my buddy let me borrow, and then I have it
Nice.
on my Game Pass. But have
Sure.
I played it all the way through? No. And then I heard you say that because I knew we had talked about that before. You're like, yo, everybody's wanting Persona 5 on Xbox, and then they're not even going to finish it. And I'm like, yeah, dang. But that's like so many games, dude. I think that's a natural problem with everyone. Is like you said, time and attention and the rate of things coming out. It's like you can't even, it's not like how it used to be, where, like
Yeah.
you said, you would have a handful of games and you just play those. But now it's like I'm already like trying to hold back, waiting for Fire Emblem. That comes out at the end of the month. But I was like, all right, dude, do not buy any more games. Play the ones you have. Play the ones you have, because this is backlog that I get because these sales. I'm like, oh, I know I'm not going to play Witcher 3 right now, but there is a next gen update and it is only $8.99.
Maybe I'm actually an outlier because I play games to
You're a completionist, right?
If I can get
platinum stuff.
If I can get a platinum trophy, I'm gonna get it, but I don't do it all.
Do you force yourself with that sometimes?
No.
Or is it natural? Like you're like, I just want to do everything available in this game because I'm having such a good time with it. Or do you feel like you're not going to get your money's worth unless you do everything in the game?
No, there's definitely come a few points where I was definitely forcing myself to try to get the platinum. And
what are some titles? What are some games?
Okay, so one
Red Dead Redemption.
So one that I stopped, the one that I actually stopped playing because like it was just too grindy, was Neo: The World Ends With You.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it just requires you to get absolute 100%, and there's so much that you have to do to get 100%. So I stopped with that one, but there was the one game that came out last year that I really forced myself to complete, and I actually really hated the game by the end of it. I had to take a step back before I started writing a trash review for it.
What was it?
It was Ghostwire Tokyo.
Really?
The platinum for that trophy is brutal. It's just it's like Tango decided to be like, you know what, instead of making a game with a great story, we're going to make a game with hundreds of collectibles, and people are going to hate themselves for having to collect them all.
Oh, so it's like the Riddler trophies and Batman kind of stuff, like to that level of like, this is so tedious, dude.
It's my understanding that the Riddler trophies is borderline impossible.
Oh, they're terrible. Kind of like those seeds in Breath of the Wild too. Those are two examples of just collectibles that are just out there like, hey, we're just,
isn't there like 999 of those?
I don't even think you're exaggerating, dude. It's a lot. I don't even,
yeah.
And they're everywhere, and you feel kind of rewarded, like, oh man, I feel like I'm smart because I'm like, that's out of place. But you never feel, I didn't feel the urge to go like scour the world to find these things. So yeah, I didn't do it.
There was here's the thing. The collectibles in Ghostwire Tokyo are absolutely, they're annoying, but they're not. Like, you can easily get them, you can easily do them. There's just a lot of them, and it was just like,
did it feel like they were just kind of like just filling in gaps, or like just throw
it was. Yeah, it was filling in gaps in a bad way. Ghostwire Tokyo was probably my biggest disappointment last year, and it was a game that I was really looking forward to.
How long did it take you to beat it? Like how many hours?
Question.
20? 30?
It's probably like a 30-hour platinum.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not too bad.
Yeah, it's not that bad. So that is definitely one that, like, I was like, okay, I really have to force myself to do that. But like if the story is good, the extra missions, the collectibles, whatever, if they're all fun and it all feels great, the gameplay is good, then I'm going to go for it. And I usually have a good time all the way through.
Right.
I've platinumed. So you know how like you could sometimes I don't know if you know this because you don't have a PlayStation 5 yet, right? Or do you ever plan on getting a PlayStation 5?
Ooh, that's a good question. I heard the other day they're like, you know what, guys, you'll be able to get some PlayStation 5s because we sold a ton of them, and I guess a lot of like 30 million people have one. So there's only so many people on Earth. So I guess, at some point you'll be able to walk into a Walmart, Best Buy,
Yeah.
and be able to get them. But I don't know, man. There are some games that are only going to be there that do have my interest. Only time will tell.
So the reason why I asked that is because you can actually there are some games that you can do a free upgrade from the PlayStation 4 to the PlayStation 5 version. And if you do a save game transfer from say like your PlayStation 4 to your PlayStation 5, it'll actually automatically pop all the trophies again, and you'll get a double trophy. So the reason why I bring that up is because, so for example, with Spider-Man 2018 remastered, I loved that game so much that I fully 100%ed that game through the game and all the DLCs on the PlayStation 4, and then I did it again on the PlayStation 5. So
I can't do that, dude. I've heard you I think like with Persona 5. How many times have you played through that? 2 or 3?
So Persona 5 Vanilla.
Yeah,
I
and then
played through that
Royal.
3 times to get the platinum.
What?
Yeah.
Do you have to play through it 3 times to get platinum?
You can do it in 2 playthroughs. Basically you have to complete the Persona compendium, and I failed to do that on my second playthrough. So I had to do a whole nother playthrough.
I got you.
And then of course I got the platinum trophy for Persona 5 Royal, and I'm doing it again on PS5.
Wow.
So there's just some games that I genuinely enjoy enough to do it over and over and over and over again.
Yeah. But that takes a lot of time, dude. Like, is it like a comfort game? Do you just like, man, I don't have to worry about the story. Like the gameplay's fun enough. Like combat's fun. I like these characters.
Are you talking about Persona? Are you talking about
yeah,
Persona?
or just like when you read, because like I'm really bad about like, especially like a story-based game like that. It's like, okay, I've experienced this story. There are things here that I love that are fun, but I don't feel the need to go back and put in that many hours into like a title I've already beat. But that's just me.
I feel like this is another thing that I feel like I'm kind of a rare breed in. I really enjoy replaying some games.
Okay. Yeah. So what about that? What about just re-experiencing it, or just seeing it from like a different perspective?
Or just it's kind of like a weird, okay. If the game resonates with me like on another level, then like I'll replay it to the max. Like Persona 5 is like probably the primest example, simply because of how long the game is. A run of Persona 5 Vanilla, so I'm talking about the pre-Royal version, that's anywhere from 90 to maybe 105 hours per run. So I've done about, I think my accumulation of new game pluses on Persona 5 Vanilla is about 290 hours.
Oh, bro.
And then Persona 5 Royal, if like you're doing it, if you like the platinum trophy, to get the platinum trophy in a single run is roughly 120 hours.
Yeah. So, okay. I'm going to take that information and I'm going to propose this. Okay. I think there's 2 types of people, right? And I think we are actually one of each here.
Okay.
I think there's people like me who enjoy something so much that ending it is bittersweet, and we delay it, and that's why we don't finish it, because there's like this closure that we're trying to avoid. And then there's people that I think like you might fall in this category where you have become attached to this thing. You've enjoyed it so much and you've invested time and energy into it. You're like, I want to I want to keep going back. Like, I don't want to let go of it. Like, I don't want to move on from it. Where like, do you feel like that's close? to like anything?
Maybe
Yeah.
maybe a little bit. There's I I just love a good story. I love a good story, and these games that I replay always have a great story involved, and they usually end on a very positive note. Funny enough, I have not replayed The Last of Us Part 2 in a long time simply because the game is so grim.
Yeah, I heard
Um,
it's really, really
uh,
sad. Really, you got
yeah.
it's a kind of a downer. Yeah.
But it's an excellent game, and it took a risk, and I respect anything that takes a risk. So like for example, God of War Ragnarok, really really great game, really fun game. It's a game that I'm gonna replay when the new game plus comes out. Um, but it was a very safe sequel. I don't think
Mm.
that's necessarily a bad thing, but it ends on a positive note. That's a game that I'm going to replay simply because yes.
Got a question over here.
Yeah.
Do you think Ragnarok? Now I haven't played it,
Okay.
but do you think Ragnarok is like glorified DLC?
I hate that. I hate that.
I'm just saying, man.
No.
Did they start making that game right after 2018 God of War?
So
Because, like you said, like it's not very much different. Like the combat I heard is pretty much the same. It's great story, dude. But I feel like as far as like they're kind of companion pieces. Like it feels like the Miles Morales to the Spider-Man,
I
maybe.
like it's like so they're two parts to the same story.
Mm-hmm.
But is the Two Towers DLC to the Fellowship of the Ring?
Oh no, bro! You can't say that. You can't say
I
that. That's a
absolutely can
trilogy.
say that.
No, that's like a sequel. Like I mean, there is a
This is a sequel.
linear story.
This is a sequel. This game takes place like 5 years later.
But if you were to say like if you think of Lord of the oh man, no. If we're talking about Lord of the Rings and you're thinking about the Two Towers and you're thinking about all three of those movies, they're so different, really. Like they have the same characters, but the settings are different. There's things that really stand out. If you're looking at God of War Ragnarok, I haven't played it. I watched a lot of gameplay, heard people
Okay.
talk about it. So I really don't have a valid opinion here. But I will say that if what I've been hearing as core parts of a video game experience or gameplay and in an action adventure game like this, combat, if all those are pretty much the same, like it's like when you get an upgraded phone. Sometimes you feel like, really, what did they do to upgrade this? Like, I guess the screen's an inch bigger. It's a little bit faster. It didn't feel like it wasn't really taking a leap ahead. And I mean, it can be a continuation of a story, which is also Fellowship to Two Towers. But I feel like that's really hard to compare those, right? Like a
Well,
gaming experience to like just a complete literary, just I don't know.
so I don't think it's glorified DLC.
Okay.
I think that they are two parts of a singular story.
Mm,
And people are now asking me, which one did you like more? Which one did you like more? Um did you like 2018 or Ragnarok more? And I'm like, that's a really hard answer. That's a really hard question to answer because they all feel part of the same story. And
mm,
but they just it just took 5 years to experience the next one. But
mm,
like think about it though, like they like what classifies as a DLC? Because here's the thing. I
mm.
think I platinumed Ragnarok in roughly 40 hours.
Okay.
And I did the same with 2018. They're each like 40-hour games.
Okay.
Um I mean, like is 40 hours too short? Like I don't know.
Mm,
Like you kind of see what I'm saying? Yeah, like a lot of the same core gameplay elements are present. A lot you go to some of the same
mm.
places, but different areas within those same places, if that makes any sense.
Well,
Um,
did it feel like the developers had a chunk or a foundation of this game that you played uh, that felt like they already had this stored up. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Does Ragnarok feel like a new coat of paint? Like when people talk about sports games or some other games where it just feels like, hey, this is like technically the next one, but it's really just the same feel. Did it feel different enough? I know there's a time skip in the story,
It
and
felt
stuff like that, but
it felt different enough. Basically, there was massive gameplay improvements, which was fantastic.
okay.
And the so one so God of War 2018 felt like this really awesome, intimate story between a father and son.
Yeah.
And then God of War Ragnarok was, okay, we're adults now and we're going on this big sort of epic adventure to stop this problem.
Right. Okay.
So um, I don't know if I'm answering your questions or not,
No,
but
it's cool. Like, I mean, it just seemed like
I've
it just
I've
seemed like it
felt
was fast, right? Like, I mean, 5 years doesn't feel like that, like I should be saying that it's fast or anything, but it's like they turned it around so quick and they didn't feel, just from the
is
appearance alone, they didn't
is
look too different.
is
Like,
5 years really that quick?
dude, for like, I guess, like, because if you think about the what is the gap between the God of War before 2018? Like, I
Well,
mean,
they shelved the franchise for a long time
yeah,
because it needed a break. It needed a
mhm,
break. Um,
yeah, and they did a good job, man. I mean, it's amazing. Like, I played the first one. I played 2018 on
hmm,
PlayStation 4. I loved it. I thought it was really good. Like, I think the
yeah.
story was just amazing. But I mean, I don't know. Like, I guess like it's kind of like saying you got Sword and Shield, and then you got Scarlet and Violet, right? Like those are completely different games, though. You know what I'm saying? Like you can tell, like but that's a weird franchise to compare. There's not really even a continuation of a story there, I don't think so.
I don't I don't think that they had much. I'm sure they certainly reused, like, character models and
Hmm.
certain things to make things easier in a sequel, like most sequels do.
Right?
But
Yeah, that's
but
fair.
like it's it's certain in my like and I've even dug into it. There were
Hmm.
so many claims online saying, "Oh, it's glorified DLC. It originally originated as DLC. It was DLC first." I looked everywhere for a source to corroborate that,
Mm.
because like y- and I could not find a single piece of evidence to indicate that Ragnarok was going to be DLC to that. Now it
Mm.
is like basically like there was, I think a good example of like a game that had DLC was
Hmm.
Spider-Man 2018. Spider-Man had um Spider-Man DLC. Spider-Man 2018 had DLC in the
Did.
works during production,
Hmm.
and the DLC was great. It was really cool. Um, and they could have easily lumped all that DLC together into like a singular game, and then if someone were to say this feels like glorified DLC, I would have been like, yeah, it does.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. It's
like
basically, yeah,
I it's like I could have agreed. I would have agreed with that statement.
yeah.
And here's the thing: I don't even consider Miles Morales glorified DLC. It's just like it's just a smaller game, and they even made it a cheaper price.
Yeah.
A lot of people like to compare it to Uncharted Lost Legacy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Um,
Maybe that
you
is
know,
a trend that Sony does, though. Maybe they
but
kind of like tell the developers, like, hey, have something, if this is successful, just have something that if you got some leftovers that didn't fit in the
mhm.
game, let's just like cut this off and make this like a good, strong appetizer later on. Or,
And you know what? Miles Morales was a good, strong appetizer. Let me tell you, like
yeah.
it was really great. That was my day one PS5 purchase was Miles Morales, and it was really great. And it gave me a new perspective on that particular character because
Mm.
I'm a like Peter Parker's my Spider-Man kind of guy, right? I've
Yeah.
resisted Miles Morales for however long he's been in existence,
Yeah.
but I really like this iteration of Miles Morales. So
Well,
yeah.
they kind of went hard with him because then they had Spider-Verse the movie. So like, yeah, he's kind of taken and he was featured as like being one of the main Spider-Mans in the comics of recently. Like,
Mhm.
but you know what, man? When you're talking about some of these titles, I think the thing is like with Sony, I think they just know their franchises and they put everything into those ones, and that's why maybe it just for someone who's not really such a huge I don't even know how I would classify. I'm not saying I'm not a fan of Sony, but like I think that's why it seems like dang man, like didn't that last God of War just come out where someone like Xbox is trying to find those things. And
Well,
so they
to
have
be
like
fair,
20 projects out there where you know what you're getting from Sony now, kind of like you know what you're getting from Nintendo. Like they
mhm.
know who the faces of the franchise are, you know?
Well, let's be honest. Um, in the past 5 years, there was like 2.5 years that didn't really exist.
Yeah, yeah. Oh
So
yeah.
that might have made the past 5 years go a little bit faster.
I think
Um,
like we forget to take that into account though, dude. Like when we're
mhm.
talking about certain releases and delays and quality of certain games that have been coming out recently. I mean, even last year was kind of a weak year. And in my
Yeah.
opinion, I
Are you talking
mean,
about 2022 when you say last year?
yeah,
Or okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. I think it was kind of weak. I mean, like God of War, I feel like came in what in December? Wasn't it early December or was it November?
Mid-November.
Okay, mid-November. Yeah, because it was just in time for the Game Awards and everything. But
Yeah.
you know, that closed out the year. But
Mhm,
and then it's so weird when you think about the looking back at the year. I was like, dang, Elden Ring came out like early 2022 and stuff. So
mhm,
that everybody's so hyped on that. But then kind of at this point, you feel like it's been out forever because people talked about it so much, played it
mhm.
so much. Um, you know, but like, yeah, the last couple years, man. And that's even how I've been feeling about like Nintendo. And it just feels like how because we talked about it with like Sony not in this next generation, how slow it seems to have been like moving into
Yeah.
like the next gen. Cause I feel like because of like the pandemic and things of that nature, it was really hard for them to really just go, hey, you don't have a new Xbox or a PlayStation 5? You're out of luck. Instead, they've been telling developers, like, hey, make sure you make a version of this for PlayStation 4, for Xbox One,
Mhm.
which is didn't Ragnarok is on PlayStation 4, man, but I'm sure like, man, I've heard of PlayStation 4 when it's like playing something it shouldn't, and it sounds like a jet engine
I
about to take off, dude. So I can't imagine Ragnarok on PS4, but
I here's the thing. I think the last game well, okay, I think the last game to for me to really put what the hell was my last game to play on? Okay, so The Last of Us Part 2, I played on
mhm.
my PlayStation 4 Pro,
Oh man.
um,
Oh, well, pro.
and
Okay, that's not as bad
and
then.
it I thought it was gonna explode.
Oh, it was still pretty bad?
It was The Last of Us Part 2 really put my PlayStation 4 through the ringer. It did,
Wow. How's it
and
run on PS5?
I haven't played it on PS5 yet.
I'd be
I should check
curious.
it out.
Yeah,
It's
I'd be
just
curious to
like
see.
like I said, the game is so grim, and I don't know if I wanna go through that again.
Yeah, man.
Um,
Wait for the
um,
show to do it because I heard that's all they're gonna do. They're just focusing on
yeah,
the game stories. So they're
yeah.
like,
Well, if they whenever they announce The Last of Us Part 3, I'll probably replay the games.
really?
Yeah. That's what I did with Ragnarok.
You replayed
I replayed
2018?
God of War literally, basically, I think I finished God of War 2018 about a week or so before Ragnarok,
Mm,
came out. So and I think I've played that like 4 times now. So so
dang.
I like replaying my games.
I
Um,
mean, you get your money's worth, man, and
mhm,
who is anybody to fault you for enjoying something, man? If you,
yeah.
because there's people that have just that one game, dude, like
Mhm.
that is all they play, Hey, I'm jealous and envious of people that just find things that they really, really
Yeah.
enjoy. Because I feel like that's what we do with entertainment, with games and stuff. We're constantly trying to chase that high that we had when we
Mhm.
did fall in love with something, and we're like, dude, remember when you played Pokemon for the first time? Dude, you remember it? Like you're trying to like find this, and as you get older, you're still looking for stuff, and then you're like turning into grumpy old men. You're like, back in my day, like games were made with this, and they didn't have day one patches,
Mhm.
but that's the thing, dude. We got attached to something that never changed,
Mhm.
regardless of its flaws. Nowadays, like you get a game, and by the end of its cycle, it could be a whole different experience, especially online games
Yeah.
like Overwatch 2 now is like going to be this thing, but like Apex, those types of games, like remember them day one versus where they are now. They're constantly evolving, dude.
It's
So
those live service games, right?
yeah, I'm not a big fan of those, man. I don't know how you feel
uh,
about that in mobile gaming. Not a big fan
well,
most of the
well,
time.
actually on the topic of mobile gaming, that is
Mhm.
apparently the big reason why Phil Spencer wants Activision Blizzard King.
Really? For mobile?
Yeah, for mobile.
I know they're doing
Yeah.
the cloud stuff. I know he's pushing cloud gaming, and which is kind of weird because of the failure of Stadia and stuff of that. Like why that? But I feel like they're just. Here's my thing with Xbox is like they want you to just play anywhere, anyway, and I
Mhm.
think that that's where we are, and that's kind of why I look at console wars and that kind of discussion where it's almost irrelevant now. Like, and especially now that once Nintendo puts games on Steam, which they never would, but when you have someone like Xbox and Sony doing that,
Mhm.
and now people are a lot of people now, especially with like streaming, content creation, gaming being where it's at now, people are really getting into PC gaming,
Mhm.
and then they're realizing like, dang, you're telling me I could play this and do this, and it's almost easier this way. Wow. Okay. So yeah, I
It's
don't
funny that
know.
you bring that. It's funny that you bring that up because
Mhm.
I purchased as someone who kind of likes to sometimes rip on Elden Ring. I've technically purchased it twice.
You did?
Um,
I almost
I
did.
I
I almost
I
did.
have I have it on PlayStation 5 and I have it on PC.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know why, but I'm having more fun with it on PC. I don't know
Wait,
why.
why'd you do that?
To
What?
play
What
with
did?
friends.
Okay. And
I
what
have a
controller
buddy.
to use?
I bought an Xbox controller with my
Uh,
Christmas money.
and let me guess, bro. You're like, man, the Xbox controller is probably the best controller out there, right? That's what I'm
Uh,
saying. So comfortable. And the joysticks being like this, that's the standard, right? That's how it should be. It shouldn't be like, well, this little thing.
um, uh, I
God,
do
it feels
fine
so
with both.
good. It's so
I do fine
comfortable.
with both. Like, um, like I had to get one of these because simply for a couple of reasons. One, my PlayStation 5 controller, although it can work, it doesn't work all that well when
Really?
connected.
Is it all the hype, dude? I haven't even held a dual sense, or whatever they're called now. Are they
Oh,
still dual
it's
sense?
yeah, the PlayStation controller is really great for PlayStation 5 games.
Okay.
That's about it.
And do developers really like tap into like what the haptic feedback and
Yes.
they really do? Okay,
Yes.
that's cool. That's cool.
Yes, they do. I think 2 games that really utilize it is Ratchet& and Clank Rift Apart
Mm.
and Returnal.
Yeah, dude, Returnal, a lot of people like, dude. A lot of
Yeah,
people got it. I'm surprised nobody talks about it that much more like right now. But it was like kind of like a hidden gem there for a minute.
it
Like people were
was.
really liking it.
It was another one of those roguelites, and I was just like, I could not get out of the first area. I could not get out of
So
the first.
you don't like battle royales either, do you?
No, I'm not good at first. I'm not good. Like they're so I'll tell you a story.
Okay.
Uh, this was the beginning. This was sort of the beginning of the end of doing like competitive gaming. And I remember I was playing. I think I was playing Halo Reach,
Mm.
and I was having a really bad game. I was having a bad game. And like I'm kind of like an average player. Like, I usually evened out to like around 0. like kill death ratio. Like
I feel
I'd have
that.
really good games and I'd have really bad games.
Yeah.
And one day I was just having a terrible game. And you
Yeah.
remember how hard it was to write a message to anybody?
Yeah, with a
Especially since
controller or just enjoy. Yeah, no, it's not
it was
fun.
hard. Yeah, I mean
It's
the
very
only if
tedious.
yeah. I think I had like 3 kills to like 20 deaths. It was a bad
Mm,
game. And
mm,
one guy messaged me and he said, "You're really bad at this game. You should stop playing it."
wow.
Some dude went out of his way
Mm.
to be negative because I was having a bad game.
So wait, did that get to you? Did you like uninstall the game?
Well, no, I still played, and I even played
Okay.
the, I even played like Modern Warfare 1 and 2,
Mhm.
but like that moment has kind of resonated with me. Here we are, probably roughly 13 years later since that happened. It,
Really?
yeah, because it's just like is like that was the beginning of toxic online multiplayer gaming.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I don't want to be a part of that. I don't want to be a part of that. So so I don't play competitive stuff like that and it's just like and the thing is like I'm just not I like winning.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I
I
like
don't,
winning.
I've never met anybody who liked losing. Let's just be
Sure.
fair. So
But like, you know,
yeah,
so some people it gets to
it's
some people more than
stressful.
others.
Yeah.
And so like if I'm doing like a first person shooter of some kind and
Yeah.
I'm playing with others, it's got to be co-op.
Ah, for
I
real.
don't yeah.
I like doing bots with friends because we're all pretty much about the same skill level.
Mhm.
Um, I don't really like to do. I don't. Yeah, I'm not really into competitive stuff, but I'm also really not like the best person at first person shooters,
Mhm.
which is just all the rage, man. It's
Yeah, I
just
know.
what it is, and that's most of. It's either that or League of Legends or stuff like that for like competitive, and I think
Mhm.
like that just. I never really got into the idea of being a competitive esports type person, like speed running. There's just different. Everybody approaches gaming's so different now, dude.
Mhm.
There's even like been a pressure that if you like gaming and you make content, that you need to stream it. And I feel like for some people, I know for me, in my experience, that was never, it never felt natural. Like it felt very forced because I'm usually
Yeah,
pretty quiet when I game, unless I'm
me
playing with
too.
friends, right? So to just sit there and like just talk and have this
Mhm.
inner dialogue and do that, it almost pulls me out of the immersion of what I'm doing.
You
And
and I are in the same boat in that. Like
yeah,
I absolutely agree. If I stream, it's just simply because I'm just messing around and I don't care that particular day.
yeah, and that's like what I wanted to. I wanted to feel casual about it. Like I wanted
Mhm.
to like not put too much pressure. I'm like, all right, dude, just hey, if anybody shows up, cool, whatever. We're gonna just play this game and have
Mhm.
fun. And but then like it felt like I don't know. Like as much as I don't mind, I actually enjoy watching people play games. Like that just comes from my enjoyment of watching my friends play and
Sure.
and doing that. Like I don't mind like having something on in the background while I'm doing something else. And but as someone who tried to do content which was like video game focused in the sense of like let's play type things or like it's just one of those things where I came to this conclusion where you can like food doesn't mean you like to cook it, right? Like I like to consume food but I don't like to make food all the
I
time.
like that. I
I
like
mean,
that.
so I kind of told myself, dude, hey, if you're not and first, like really all of this can be so new and weird to anybody
Mhm.
who's never done content. Um, so like, but it was like, damn, dude, I spend so much time gaming and I enjoy it. Why not make it content and then I feel productive, especially if you do spend a lot of time. But then it was just like, dang, it's kind of taking me out of like what I liked about gaming, which I can see happening with someone who is like really into competitive gaming, where it's just like,
Mhm.
dang, like this is my escapism. This is like, I don't want to think about stuff or like treat it like a job or get really hyped up. Like, yeah, man. I mean, certain games will get to you, man. They'll put you in a bad mood. You'll be in a party with friends. You can tell when somebody's like, dying a lot and they're getting pissed off and they're just like, man, it's just so I don't know. But I've kind of steered my gaming in a different direction. Like in my girlfriend, she likes like cozy games. So she likes really chill, down to earth, cute, even like strategic games. And like she plays The Sims a lot. So I've kind of like, I'm like, all right, I like my single player RPGs, JRPGs, but I don't really get into Call of Duty and Fortnite and stuff, even though I did give Fortnite my money for my hero skins. All right.
Nice.
I did download the game and I did it again, or I did it before when they had Dragon Ball.
Nice.
But have I played those games? Nah, I don't really get it on there. It's fun with friends. Like games like that are fun with friends. Competitive games, like you said, co-op, that's cool if I'm working together with somebody. But then you might have that friend where you always gotta like lift them up, like, hey man, it's all good, and they get really quick to anger, or like it's like I don't know.
Hey, I don't mean to interrupt you, but do you mind if we take like maybe a 10-minute break? I gotta let my dogs outside real quick and then crate them.
Sure,
So
man. Yeah,
we'll be right back.
Cool.
Hey guys, come on. Let's go outside. Let's go outside. Come on, let's go. Come on. Come on. Let's go outside. Let's go. Come on. Let's go outside. Come on, honey. Oh, come on. Let's go outside. Let's go potty, then we can go to bed. Let's go. Come on. Okay. Girl. Back inside? No food. Okay, let's go. Okay, come on, let's go. Come on. Come on, baby. All right, come on. Good girl. Good girl. Okay. All right, come on. Come on, Loki. Come on. Come on. Okay. Okay.
Sorry, I'm just now getting to this message. I'm still in town. I'm waiting on Tabby to get off work. We did a little carpool today, so you don't work. So I can't right now. I don't know if I've already done it or not. Just like right now, my hands are tied. I wish I could. But I'll talk to Tabby and see what she's wanting to do this evening. And make sure.
All right. Sorry about that.
Oh, you're good. No, I'm sorry too. 9:30 is dog bedtime. So yeah,
on schedule.
They're still puppies, so we're crate training them. So I have to make sure that like they get outside to go to the bathroom one more time, then put them in their crates. So
what breed are they?
Great Pyrenees.
Cool.
Yeah, they're gonna be guard dogs for our property.
Hey, okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. That's fun, man. Puppies, man. I heard they're no joke,
a lot of
dude.
work.
A lot of work, dude.
A lot of work. So let me get your I know that we kind of I kind of interrupted it there, but let me get your thoughts on something. How do you feel about the Activision Blizzard situation? What are your thoughts on that overall?
Overall, I mean, I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm cool with it. Like, I really don't see an issue with it. I think it's very obvious, and this is just from the outside looking in, how bad Sony doesn't want this to happen. Sure. And I understand. And, you know, Call of Duty is like one of the top selling video games every year, dude. And it's all, you know, and that's just Call of Duty, dude. We're not even talking about World of Warcraft and whatever else comes with it. You mentioned King, which is like mobile stuff, and that's like a huge market too. Which is that Candy Crush?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, I feel like it's just really awkward right now because of just all of the pushback, and then you know all the stuff that's going on with it being, you know, they're trying not to let it happen. And I'm not saying they as Sony, but because what didn't the who was it, FTC or somebody like there's restrictions. They have to go through this whole process like globally, and every country has to like approve of this thing. And like the EU was kind of like, we're not sure about that. And the reasoning about competition and other things I just find so like, what? Like Sony is like, first of all, PlayStation dominated, wiped the floor with everyone, not just Microsoft and Xbox, Nintendo to the point where they're like, we're doing our own thing over here. Like we're not even like in this anymore because we just can't compete. But I really feel like this idea that them owning that would turn the tides. I'm like, no, but I really do wish that Xbox would just kind of chill on building or buying a bunch of stuff. I wish
then you and I are surprisingly in the same boat.
Are we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
so by the way, there's a gentleman by the name of Mike Hobson in the chat. He says that he's a good friend of yours.
Cool. What's
and
up,
he said that he's glad to see you on other channels.
Oh,
so
cool.
Thank you for watching, Mike. Thanks for being here.
Up, man?
So here's my stance on the Activision Blizzard acquisition. And that is that at the end of the day, it's really neither here nor there for me. I don't play Call of Duty. I don't play World of Warcraft. I don't play Candy Crush.
Right.
Doesn't bother me. However, I do think I'm not a big fan of buying your way into first place.
Well, who said they're going to be in first place?
Well,
anybody? Like, because look, dude,
that's a good statement to make. But do you understand?
We don't know.
But do you understand the point that at least I'm trying to make?
I get. Yeah, you're like pay to win, dude. Yeah, you're basically pay to win. Yeah.
And I think that it's Microsoft doesn't technically have a monopoly right now. But it's gonna. But I do think that, and perhaps it's gonna create more accessible things for all gamers. But I see this starting I see this as the beginning of a buying war.
The beginning, dude, I feel like that's where we're at already. Like, I think this started outside of gaming, but I think sure. Yeah.
I'm talking more about on along the lines of gaming, right? So,
yeah.
The and first of all, I want to say something. Yes, I am bummed that I can't play Bethesda games on my PS5, but you know what? At the end of the day, I think ZeniMax is going to do great things with Xbox. Xbox just needs to give them good direction and proper financing, and they will make some of the best games on the market. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. That's only if Xbox does, gives them the freedom to make the games that they want to make and the financing. Okay?
Yeah. Which they seem like they have with Obsidian, right?
They have
Grounded.
Obsidian,
Grounded was like a huge success this year for them, and they kind of were like, "Do what you want, dude, because you're Obsidian." But I also feel like maybe they are pulling this, like, "Hey, we'll let you do that Grounded game, but do you guys want to work on Fallout for us? Like, that'd be kind of cool, right?"
Yeah, that would be pretty interesting.
Why not?
New Vegas too, right?
Well, isn't that what everybody always says though? They're like, New Vegas is the best Fallout.
I don't think so.
I think that's one of those. I think
Fallout 3 is. I like Fallout. See,
3. And so I'm kind of like, okay, but like, dude, real quick about the buying stuff, dude.
Yeah,
I totally understand, because there was a moment in history that a lot of people can agree with this, maybe, that when Disney started buying a bunch of stuff, people were like, "Oh, dude, look what they're doing with Marvel. It's so good. Disney, buy this because you can fix it." Or Marvel, like when like that was happening, I was rooting for like, "Hey, yeah, buy the X-Men or buy Fox," when they bought Fox. And this is like kind of related. It was like, oh, shoot, now they own Star Wars, Marvel, and it's like, oh no, they own too much. Like, I don't like the idea of a company, whether it was Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, owning everything. Like, I'm kind of like, there should be a balance here. Yeah.
So this is just me. This isn't me necessarily defending Sony in any particular way, but the difference between the purchasing that Sony has done and the purchasing that Microsoft has done is that Sony has made strategic, really great purchases of independent studios and built them up.
Bungie? Bungie? You think Bungie?
I'm not talking about Bungie. I'm talking about like first of all, them buying Insomniac was such a great. I think
Insomniac's been a big win for them, dude.
But well, no, actually, surprisingly enough, Bungie is a strategic purchase for them.
Dude, that's such a weird. That's so weird.
If you look into it, they want their live service know-how. Whether or not we like live service games, they want that know-how, because there's no denying that Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 have done incredibly well for Bungie.
They're the example of live service, though, dude.
Exactly.
Like, they know how to do it. They know how to pace it. Yeah.
So
I don't play it, but
So yes, it's one of those weird but funny purchases, because it belonged to Microsoft. They went to independent.
I know, man. That's where it's a little dirty, right? It's like they married their ex or something.
I know.
It's really odd. It's like, oh, you made Halo. How about you come over here? It's like, what? But that's
Sony
isn't that kind of like what Microsoft's doing with Kojima? They're like, yo.
Well, so basically the point that I'm trying to make is that Sony has never purchased a massive publisher. In the past, in the past half decade, Microsoft will have purchased 2. And that is massive consolidation. If you think about it, it's massive consolidation. And and this is one of the reasons why I think that whether or not you think that whether or not you agree with some of the tactics that Sony is putting into place with, say, like Square Enix, whether or not it's accurate that they're doing, like, they're putting these clauses in their contract saying that their games can't go on Game Pass, whether or not it's, well, we don't, that's a claim made by Microsoft. We don't know. So okay. I've got a gentleman in the
Enix. Oh, go ahead.
No, there's a gentleman in the chat. He's saying it spans across the industry. I feel, other than the potential monopoly piece, it's a matter of your buying expertise and genre. I'm not great at X, so let me buy X so I can have that in the portfolio. That's a good way to look at
Matt.
it.
What's up, Matt?
Okay.
Yeah, I know Matt. He's awesome.
Okay, cool. Well, welcome. I'm glad that you're here, and I'm glad that there's that we got some viewers tonight. That's fantastic. Thank you for being here, everyone.
He's got a point. It's like, I'm weak here, so let me go ahead and.
That's a good way to look at it, and I've never really thought about it that way. That's an interesting. So thank you. That's a great way to put it.
Because Halo, dude, Halo Infinite sucks at the live service thing, and that's really a big L for Xbox, because they're like, free to play Halo, and it's really just stumbled out the gate. And I know there's like a winter update, like the co-op companion and all this, or campaign. I don't know what I was saying. Supposed to come out and all that. I haven't checked it out, but yeah, it was just like, dang, Bungie knew how to do it. And it's really, there is like, you can't just make something free to play and just tell, hey, we're going to put content. No, you got to have like a rhythm to it. Like, you got to keep people engaged with this product.
Yeah. So the point that I was trying to make with Square Enix is that, whether or not you think that their practices are sketchy or unethical, first of all, third-party exclusives are not a new thing,
right?
And third-party timed exclusives aren't a thing. So that's just that, in my opinion, is like, both Sony and Xbox, both Sony and Microsoft people are like, well, we're doing this to compete and we're doing that to compete. It's like, well, okay, these are both companies doing what they feel is right to compete, but both sides are complaining about it. So, but so that's one of the reasons why, like, is what Sony is doing right? Is what Sony is doing right with the whole Square Enix things? I don't know. I don't know. I don't like to think about that kind of stuff. I just want to play video games. But I can see it as a competition tactic.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's business, right? I mean, like,
big time.
It's like when they talk about it in sports, like, when you get traded, I mean, it just happens. Like, and right now in tech, it's so competitive, dude. Right now in this, like, when we're, talking right now, recording this, like, tech companies are letting people go all the time, dude. It's like, it's a tight market. And if you're a game developer and stuff like that, like, dude, I heard there was something about I can't remember the game, but it was like, if they made a certain score on Metacritic, they got bonuses, and they didn't. It was something to do with Obsidian back in the day.
Oh, wow.
Like, yeah. So, like, I think that's kind of like a thing. It's kind of like sports, where it's like, hey, if you get this many touchdowns, you get this bonus. So they have to. So when games like Cyberpunk come out the gate, have all these investors like, we're about to make a lot of money, dude. We gave you a lot of money to make this game, and it's really hype, and they just kind of flop. Like, people are losing money and losing jobs, dude. It's competitive. Yeah. And so when you have like someone like Microsoft doing what they're doing, and Sony going, okay, you're going to do that. Cool. We're going to do this. And Nintendo's just kind of like watching like their parents fight and just go, we're good. Like, we have all of our stuff. But like, Microsoft's telling Nintendo like, hey, we're going to put Call of Duty on Switch, which I'm like, why not? Like,
but here's an interesting question. Do you think Actually, we got some comments. Mike is saying it's very likely that this will be one of the most interesting years in gaming in a long time. Microsoft is going to have a huge blowout at E3 this year, and what Sony has been cooking is also going to be insane. Agreed. I'm a very cynical and oftentimes negative person, and but
I think like talking to you, dude, I've realized that you're more just realistic about things. Like you're more open-minded than you appear sometimes. Sometimes it's good. You like know what you think and you know what you believe in and you're pretty passionate about it. But talking to you, I can see where you have more of a wiggle room. Well, you're just kind of more open to like listening to other things. So I digress.
See, wasn't this a good idea?
Yeah, we were gonna do like this was just a scheduling thing, dude. This is two grown men working full time, trying to game, trying to watch anime, and then trying to find time to sync everything up. So I get it.
So what Mike is saying is accurate about this year, but I knew that last year at the beginning of the year, I knew last year was going to be a dud. I knew that 2022 was going to be
really
horrible. Right out of the gate,
all the delays or just like nothing exciting.
Basically, like Starfield was originally set for what, November of this past year. At the beginning of last year, I was like, that game's getting delayed. Redfall is getting delayed. I called a ton of delays.
That Cyberpunk stuff scared everybody, dude.
Yeah, thank God.
Dude, we better not release this if it's not ready. Like somebody walked in the office the next morning after Cyberpunk was taking so much heat, and they literally looked at everybody and say, "Your job's online. If this has any bugs or if IGN rips us apart, dude, we're finished. We can't do it. Look what they're doing to these guys." This was like one of the most hyped games from a studio that people just praise. They're like, CD Projekt Red, oh, you're so cool. And then they failed, they flopped. So totally gotcha.
And but the thing is, like, I am really looking forward to 2023. First of all, I'm getting a ton of Square Enix games that I'm really stoked about. I'm getting a remake to my all-time favorite game ever, and the remake looks fantastic.
What is that?
And that's Resident Evil 4.
But is that one of those things where you're going to be like, I kind of wish they didn't touch this? Like,
so have you seen gameplay trailers for Resident Evil 4 remake?
No, I saw the I've seen the original announcement.
It looks amazing.
Doesn't
it? Looks amazing. And this is from someone who was really skeptical about that game being touched.
Hey, the RE remakes are they remakes? They're remakes. Right?
Well, RE2 and RE3 are certainly they're all remakes, but RE2 and RE3 were the ones that got the biggest overhaul. But yeah, I'm getting a ton of games, and I'm really stoked for this year. And I was like, how am I going to find time to play all these games? So let's see here. Matthew says the lines are becoming blurred on performance other than Nintendo. At least in the console world, it becomes a factor of exclusives and being pigeonholed to buying this console for this title. Yeah, and that is definitely, and
that's true.
I do believe in good exclusives for either console, but there comes an issue where all of a sudden you've got one massive tech company buying up these publishers that are traditionally multi cross console, whatever. Now the Sony purchasing Insomniac made sense because Insomniac's had a multiple decade working relationship with Sony where most of their games have been exclusive anyway. I think their only Xbox exclusive was Sunset Overdrive. Yeah,
that's on Game Pass, bro. That's on Game
there you
Pass.
go.
There you go. There's something.
So yeah, then Matthew continued, in other words, if you are playing a game on PS5 or Xbox, what is the difference other than personal preference to possibly controllers or past history with that brand?
I like the Xbox controller. I even like Nintendo's Pro controller. PS5 or the PlayStation controller for some people is like God's gift to gaming. For me, it's just I like where the analogs sit on the other controllers. They just fit in my hands. I got small hands too, dude. So like I'm cool with that. And but dude, just real quick, what he's talking about, I'm kind of experiencing right now with phones. And I think this goes back to physical and digital games, which would be an awesome topic to get into sometime. But
sure,
like, so like, dude, me going to Xbox, getting the Series S, I looked at my shelf and I said, oh, dude, I like all my PlayStation games are going to be on PS4. They're not going to go to this. Like, I missed out. Like, I had to buy Witcher 3 again. I had to do this. Well, I'm getting a Pixel. Like Google Pixel. I'm going from iPhone to Google Pixel. And then, like, as I'm doing that, I'm like, man, I'm excited. I want to try Android out again. And I'm like, damn. I was like, I have all these photos. I have all of these just apps and different things that are on my iPhone, like reminders, notes, years. Like, because I had an iPhone before the one I have. So, like, I just transferred. But it's like digital titles, like, kind of hold your loyalty to a brand. It's like, well, dude, why would you switch from PlayStation to Xbox or Xbox to PlayStation if you have a digital library? You can't carry it over, you know? So,
yeah.
You know,
You want to know what made me switch from Xbox to Sony? Funny enough,
what's that?
Price. So get this. So it was right around Xbox. It was during the transition from 360 and PS3 to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One.
Okay.
During their weird E3, that was a really interesting E3. I remember that. It's like Xbox came out of the gate first and was like, this is what we're doing. This is it's going to cost this much. And then the next day Sony comes on and says, ours is $100 cheaper and you can do all this stuff. And I was like, and at the time I was still kind of broke. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to go with the console that's $100 cheaper.
Hey, dude, nothing wrong with that, man.
So I got a PlayStation 4 day one. I'll admit I will admit, I think during that cycle, Xbox actually had more day one exclusives than PlayStation 4 did. I had to wait a while.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. But let's be fair. If we really, I think maybe we can agree on this. Between PS3 and 360 won that generation.
Oh,
right?
Big time. Yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
So that's why there was a slow roll for Sony. Like, they're like, dude, we got to hit this out the park. We got to get
the PS3 though had issues, especially during that time when they had that massive hack.
Oh, dude, yeah, Sony was going through it, dude. Oh, yeah, that was the whole company. It wasn't even just like a PlayStation gaming thing. Like, wasn't Sony at large, like, going through it that whole generation?
They did. PlayStation 3. So I was still very much a 360 person at the time, and I wasn't planning on getting a PlayStation 3. But what triggered me to get a PlayStation 3 was, you remember when GameStop had, I think they still have that rewards program. The
Pro Card?
Yeah. And because I was part of that, I got the craziest thing in my email. It was from GameStop. It was a coupon for $200 off a PlayStation 3.
What?
Yes, it was $200 off a PlayStation 3.
Wow.
I didn't believe that it was true. I printed it and I took it in and I was like, is this thing real? They're like, yep. You want a PlayStation 3? And I'm like, yes, I do. I think, yeah.
That's so odd. It's like, you want a PlayStation 3? Yeah, dude. Like, you just handed them out. Yeah, I'll take
$100. Want to buy some games? Yeah, I'll buy some games. But I think it was my intention to continue on with Xbox One. But then, like, when there was when there was like this price differentiation, I was like, whatever. And so, I mean, I definitely see your concern about digital stuff. One of the reasons why I have a whole bunch of physical copies of games right behind me. I love physicals copies.
Okay, yeah, I see him.
Yeah,
I see him.
I love physical copies so much.
Yeah.
It's tangible proof that you own something. It like
Yes.
it's um whether or not the game actually exists on the disc or not.
Yeah. Modern gaming is weird when it does come to physical, but I
Yeah.
get that, dude. I think we still all come from the generations of wanting to like just
Mhm.
feel like you own it, touch it, feel it, look at the manuals, even those aren't a thing really anymore. But dude, I like on my Switch, dude, I hate to admit it, like I have mostly digital games on there. And it's just like, because it's like maybe in my head, I'm like, it's a portable system. I don't want to like carry around a bunch of. Remember when you used to like bring games to a friend's house or something or your
Mhm.
console, and it just was like such a hassle, dude.
Yeah.
Just the fact that all my games are in this, and like I actually have it right here. I have this little carrying case,
Oh,
and that's it.
nice.
Yeah. So it's a little, and then it like opens up, right? Anyways, it comes with like cartridge cases like these, and it
Okay.
holds like 4 games. So I have like some of them, but dude, I have so many games on here that that are digital. Yeah, I don't know, just like that convenience. But I have a Series S, dude. They don't even have a disc drive, dude. So like,
Mhm.
it's digital only, But I think what I told myself this year, if I'm gonna buy more Switch games like Fire Emblem, I'm gonna get that physical. I want to
There you
I
go.
want to start doing that, but yeah, you don't have to
If
install games, do you? Yeah, you do.
we have to install
That's
games, man.
just
If
man.
so here's what I actually, if you want to play more games on your Switch this year,
Mhm.
and if you're thinking about diving into the Persona series, get I mean, I know
Hmm.
that through Game Pass it's free, right? But like get Persona 4 Golden. That's Persona 5 vanilla.
That
That's
is Mike in the chat is the one that let me borrow that actually.
Oh,
So shout
nice.
out to Mike. Yeah.
So they actually so Matthew here is saying, definitely want to hear your thoughts from you guys on the return of Chris Metzen to Blizzard Entertainment. I started with Blizzard back in the 90s with with Warcraft 2.
Mm.
Unfortunately, I don't know anything about that topic. I don't know who that is. I tend to stay away from like I haven't really followed Activision Blizzard in much for many years, ever since I dropped Call of Duty and um uh
I kind of know a little bit. I don't know a lot, but I know
okay.
Blizzard's been going through it.
Mhm.
They've had some controversies here recently, and I think he was part of that. Well,
Understatement.
yeah. So but I think he's like one of the guys. Ooh, see, I don't want to just say things just to act like I know what I'm talking about, but I think he did have something to do with World of Warcraft. I think he was like one
Okay.
of the original people with that.
Oh, cool.
Um, and to be honest, Blizzard's in a weird place too, right? So,
Mhm.
and Diablo 4 comes out this year. That'll be something. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that'll be fun.
anyways, I don't really know much about it, but yeah, him coming back after all the controversy, and they haven't really settled a lot of that stuff. It's just still kind of out there.
Mhm.
Um, and that's another thing though, people don't talk about nearly as much, is like Xbox is taking a risk. They're buying
They
like a
are.
company that's like not in good PR with
Mhm.
anybody, but has like potential and has a history of like making great video games. But they're like, man, if we can come in here and fix this and turn this around, like we'll be good. Like we got a
Mhm.
lot of winners there. But yeah, I don't know. Like, and I don't know if this guy coming back has anything to do with the possible, you know, Microsoft,
Well,
I don't know. I don't know.
if Microsoft, if when it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when Microsoft is getting Activision Blizzard. It's like it's going to happen, and I think we all need to accept that.
Yeah,
Depending,
I'm cool with it. I'm not.
yeah, yeah,
It won't
it,
bother me, but I think we talked earlier about the
yeah.
point of like not liking the ideas so much as a monopoly.
Mm,
So after this, they need to chill, dude. They just need to focus on
yeah,
making games. Like,
I agree, and so. First of all, Mike says that you should play Royal over the version that you have, essentially, because
dang. Well,
Royal is like the definitive version of
so
Persona 5.
so real quick, I have Persona 4 on Steam, but when it comes out on Switch, I think I'm gonna get it on my Switch because and really this is weird to think about, or maybe it's not. I see Persona being a game that would be really fun on handheld, and
No,
because of the
absolutely.
in the day-to-day vibe and gameplay mechanic, feels like I can pick it up, do a couple things, put it down. And I think I'd have more an opportunity to like stay consistent to it. So, but Persona 4 aesthetically brighter, looks like something I want to start with that. And I think I'll have like more success actually finishing it versus 5. But maybe that's just me. Because I don't know.
So first of all, Persona 3 and Persona 4 were originally PSP games. So yeah.
Oh, then it's going to be perfect on handheld. Oh wow.
And so Persona 4 Gold. So I love this. I love the story and characters of Persona 4 Golden more than I actually like the story than I actually like things of Persona 5.
Really?
Simply because everyone's happier. Everyone's happier.
Everybody's plus ultra, dude. They're super optimistic.
Yeah.
The future's bright. Yeah.
Everyone's so much happier in Persona 4. Whereas everyone in Persona 5, they've all dealt with some hardcore trauma.
Yeah, it does feel a little bit darker. And the themes in 5, right out the gate, are a little like, ooh, you're touching on that. I don't know if there's any of that in 4. But.
No, it's just Persona 4 is just murder. Whereas Persona 5 right out the gate is like
a lot of murder.
Persona 5 is just like you know, sexual abuse on school children, and
right out the gate, right?
Very careful with words that I say online.
Yeah, but no, I think right out the gate they touch on things like, because I played some of it, and I know there's like the gym teacher guy. He's sketchy, you know. So
he's yeah.
It gets pretty wild there. Yeah.
So I have seen the Persona 5. So Matthew is asking if I don't know if you've seen this, but like the Persona 5 anime is on Crunchyroll, and it's solid. It's solid.
Is it based off the game, or is it like a prequel?
Yeah, it's based off the game. Yeah.
So it's like the game, but just as an anime. So I could watch that and not play the game, right?
No, play the game, because play the game.
You sure I can't just watch?
Okay. Here's the thing, it's one or the other. Okay. It's one or the other, or what you can do. It's one or the other. And when I say one or the other, it's like you got to play the game, and then if you go back and watch the anime, you're gonna be like, this anime didn't quite do the game justice. Like,
I get you.
However, the Persona 4 anime is
there's a Persona 4 anime.
Good. Yes, the Persona 4 anime is spectacular. Unfortunately, it's not on Crunchyroll. Well, the Persona 4 Golden anime is on there, but that one isn't that good. But the original Persona 4 anime is so good. Johnny Young Bosch is the main character. It's so good. But the chat's telling you to play the game.
Dude, man, look, but see, Mike is also he loves those. I don't know, maybe you're the same way, man. Like, as much as playing something like Persona 5 that's 100 hours, or like for Mike, he's been wanting me to get into Xenoblade Chronicles, and that's like,
I have a buddy who's doing that too,
dude. But so look, I'm accepting of friends and people that are like, I can tell like you're passionate, like this made an impact, you really love this thing, and obviously you think I'll like it, and maybe I will, and I really I love turn-based combat, dude. I mean, like, so like that in itself is like where I'm at with my games right now. Like, I'm playing a lot of strategy turn-based, and like
I think you'll enjoy it then. I think you'll really enjoy it.
And I love anime, and I'm like, okay, there's a lot of things that are already like pushing me towards it. I don't know why I haven't, and that's where I think it is an aesthetic thing. I think it is an availability thing, where if I did just have it on my Switch, I could just like find myself getting into it a little bit more.
Yeah.
So, but but I already have it. Like, I could play 4 and 5 right now. It's on Game Pass. I mean, so like, I really don't have an excuse. But then, man, I got too many games going on right now. It's
sure.
Like, and I do not know why.
I'm on a game break right now. I'm taking a break.
What was the last game? Ragnarok?
Huh? Ragnarok was my last game.
And then you're like, all right,
Yeah, I like to take breaks. So like
Really?
yeah, so like I'm rewatching Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
I'm getting ready for Forspoken. Forspoken is due out at the end of the month.
How do you think
Um,
that's gonna be, man? I've heard mixed things from people.
so I am naturally drawn towards games where you have over the top powers and you can be powerful.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I love games like that where like you're just kind of like you're just powerful. And you know what? I could use a good isekai right now. So
Yeah.
yeah, and that girl gets isekai'd.
Okay.
Um so so one and that's one of the reasons why I was really looking forward to Ghostwire Tokyo is because you look like you had all these really cool powers. You look like
Mhm.
you could be powerful and you can get
Mhm.
powerful, but the game was just mediocre.
I
And
heard they were just like in over their heads, dude. I heard they were like they were kind of like a two. There was a lot going on there, and maybe it's just not the
which game
time.
are you talking about?
Ghostwire.
Ghostwire? Yeah, I don't know. I think it went through different directors and things like that, and it just had some
Mm.
issues.
Mhm.
Another game that I'm really looking forward to that sort of in the same vein of having really cool powers is Atomic Heart. Um,
Oh yeah,
so I'm
yeah.
really looking forward to that one. It's very BioShocky.
Game Pass.
I pre-ordered it. I'm buying it.
Really? I'm
Yeah.
about to pre-order Fire Emblem, and I'm gonna get it through Amazon. And this is my first time pre-ordering something on Amazon, so I hope it gets here on release day. Have you ever ordered a game day one through like online anywhere? It doesn't really have to be Amazon or anything like that, or do you just go to a store and get it?
I get everything through Amazon. I'm too far away from stores.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, it's like Whip, you seem like a Platinum Games enjoyer. My next game is Wanted, Dead or Alive.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
uh,
yeah. Mike likes Platinum Games.
Platinum Games, what other games do they make?
Oh, they do Persona. They did. Oh well, they did. Oh gosh, there's a couple. Is it? Don't they do No More Heroes or something? And then they do that other one that they just brought from the Wii U, and it was a bunch of superheroes and stuff. I saw. Yeah, you've gotten good timing with Amazon, Matt. Dope. I feel good about that.
Funny enough, I haven't played too many Platinum games. Um,
They're fast paced. They're
they're very
quirky,
fast
dude.
paces.
They got their own style.
Yeah,
From what I've
very
seen.
very sort of bullet storm kind of
The Divine
situation.
Edition of Fire Emblem. Let's go.
I
Let's go.
I actually it now that I have a greater appreciation for JRPGs, I
Mhm.
think I'm gonna go back and actually replay near automata, near
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, that
that game.
game. Dude,
Um,
Mike literally sent me a video that was like, I think was like a video essay on that game. And I played it and I beat it one time. And then he was like, nah, dude, you got to play it again. And I was like, nah,
I
dude.
think you have to play it like 10 times to
Yeah.
kind of
So
get all
this
the
is right up your alley, dude. Like, you're going to love it, man. Because then if you do
maybe I'll
like
have to
it,
give it a shot.
yeah, well, but yeah, I know, man. I don't know. I love so many different things. Like I get into so many different things. That's why I'm like, dude, I have too many RPGs going on right now that I need
Yeah.
to chill out. Especially with Fire Emblem comes out. I'm like, all right, I need to.
Are are you gonna give Final Fantasy 16 a shot? Oh, that is the PS5 exclusive, so
Yeah, I know, man. And I
maybe
didn't
wait for it
even
to come to PC.
I watched I've watched people play 7. I have 7 on my PS4, but I
Okay.
really and there's a couple other Final Fantasy. I've been really wanting to get into Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest. And I have
Okay.
Dragon Quest on my Switch, and I think it's leaving Game Pass, but I had it on there as well and Steam. I don't know. There's certain games that I'm like, dude, one day I'm gonna finish this game. And so
Mhm.
what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna punish myself for not finish it. I'm gonna buy it multiple places so that I can't avoid it. And I have no
Which game is this that you
excuse.
wanna is it which game is
Yeah,
this?
gosh, man, there's a lot. Witcher
It
3 is one of those that I've
uh-huh.
bought multiple times and yet not finished. That's ridiculous.
That was me with
Uh
Bloodborne.
Bloodborne, okay, yeah. See, it's just like, dude. My big goal, like, I had gaming goals this year, and it was like, dude,
Mhm.
finish what you start and like work on backlog, and like maybe treat yourself. If there is a game a month, do it. Like for me, January is Fire Emblem. And so I'm not buying any games, even if there is a great sale on the Switch right now on the eShop. I'm just saying it's out there. But so I'm trying to work on some other games, and they're all the same type, and they, for some reason, are games that are long. They require like 40, 60, 80 hours. I'm like, what am I doing to myself?
I actually, so that way I could play the game without feeling like I was worried about getting exposed to any spoilers. I actually took, I planned my vacation around the release of God of War Ragnarok.
Yeah, I remember you hearing that.
And just because like games can take a long time to complete, and if my gaming time is like maybe 3 or 4 hours in the evening, it's going to take me like several weeks to get through a 40 or 50 hour game.
And you didn't you do a review for Ragnarok?
I actually didn't.
Where are you going to?
I really wanted to sit down and enjoy the game.
Yeah.
I really wanted to play it.
Those are two different kinds of experiences. It's like we're talking about with streaming. It's like there's different, sometimes, like you said, you just want to be with the game, dude, and just enjoy it.
And having to plug my PlayStation into my computer and set up OBS to capture the footage, it's just like, and then pay attention and then make sure that you're getting and then make sure that you're getting all the different aspects of the game, at least some of it recorded, so that way you could talk about it in the review. It's just like, that's not how I want to be worrying about this game. And it's funny, I did like kind of the same approach with Cyberpunk 2077. I really wanted to play the game. I did get footage for it, but I didn't try to get absolutely everything.
I saw you stream it a couple times.
Cyberpunk?
Yeah, I think you streamed it a couple times after the update and the anime came out.
God, that was a good anime.
Dude, that was like probably my favorite anime of last year.
It wasn't
definitely top 3.
It wasn't quite it. Yeah, probably top 5 for me.
That music, dude. And I know you like that kind of music, dude. You like electronic and dance and trap and stuff. That soundtrack, alone made me want to go play the game, and I did. I bought it for.
Several of the songs that I really liked from the anime are in my Spotify playlist now.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Same here. Yeah.
So, and it was did you watch my review for it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like there just wasn't.
You wanted it to be longer?
I wanted it to be longer. Yeah, I wanted it to be like 3 seasons or something like that.
This is so meta, dude, cuz like I did watch your video on it. So actually getting to talk to you about it. Yeah, I remember you were like, I wish it was a little bit longer. But I'm like, dude, see, that would open up a whole thing about My Hero, and I don't want to get into that right now. Unless you want to, then we're here.
We can talk about My Hero.
Man, there's a lot, because there's a lot that I did want to talk to you about that, because it's fun to think about. Like, My Hero got me back into anime, dude. Like, I was gone, I was blind, but now I can see again.
Dude, that's me too. Mike, I appreciate that. And if you're ever, if you like talking about these same topics, one of these days, maybe I'll get you and Lucas maybe together on the top podcast, and we can talk. We can really have it out.
Yeah, dude.
But no, basically what triggered my anime sort of me coming back to anime, the pandemic, right? The pandemic helped because I was inside all the time. And a buddy, several of my friends were like, you got to watch Your Name. So I watched Your Name, and Your Name made me like cry in ways that I haven't cried before.
It is very emotional. Yes.
And then
in the feels.
And then my friend Casey was like, you just watch My Hero. Was it him? I don't know. Somebody. But
just somebody, dude. Somebody. Like, I remember the person who put me on My Hero. I always should. Jackson, thank you. It changed my life.
I think Casey. The thing is, like, Casey, who's my co-host usually, he puts me onto a lot of anime.
Did he put you onto My Hero?
He was. I think he was one of the many people who suggested My Hero,
okay.
And so we'll just give him credit. So basically, I remember I had a vacation, and originally I planned on spending the entire vacation playing video games and streaming.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
I've seen a Silent Voice. I own a Silent Voice.
Silent Voice is
It's on
good.
my DVD shelf. I love that movie.
See,
Great movie.
you got to spread the word of Plus Ultra, dude. Tell all your friends, family, anybody, strangers. You got to check out at least the first couple seasons. Oof, hot topic.
Of My Hero. Yeah. So basically what happened was, instead of playing video games, I binge watched My Hero Academia
Dude,
in 1 week.
do you like to binge other things? For me, anime is the best thing to binge.
I love binging. I love binging.
You just like binging? I'm kind of like cool with like once a week releases, but with anime, hell no, dude. 23 minutes is not enough. And especially when you basically recap in the first like couple minutes and then like, yeah, cliffhanger after cliffhanger. I gotta watch it.
My alarm clock is set for 6 a.m. to catch episode 14 tomorrow. I love week to week, but I also love binging.
Are you watching? So you're talking about My Hero?
Yeah, it comes back tomorrow.
It
went on a 2-week break between the two cores.
Bro, between that and the manga taking breaks, and shout out to Horikoshi. I heard his health isn't too good, man.
Yeah, he needs to take a break. They
need to leave that man. That's a whole thing, dude. But yeah, he needs to take a break. I feel like
Yuki Tabata, the guy who writes Black Clover, he took a 3-month break. The guy who writes One Piece, he took a month off. I don't know why.
Chainsaw Man took a while off too.
He took a year and a half off.
Yeah, but then he also, so this is, and anyone here who's ever been like creative or anything, I think that's so important, because the Chainsaw Man author and creator, gosh, I forgot his name right now, and that's so disappointing.
Fujimoto, is that
okay? We'll rock with that.
Yeah,
double check that. But I know he worked on 2 other projects in between that time, and they were completely different from Chainsaw Man in a lot of ways.
Yeah, Fujimoto.
And they're so good, and you need to check them out if you haven't, dude. They're so good. They're just one-offs. But I feel like creators want to scratch other itches. Mm-hmm. And I think Horikoshi wants to do horror so bad, dude.
Yeah, he does.
Something a little bit more edgier. I think he's like tired of being like so like Plus Ultra, I think he's like, Dark Deku and stuff is like him expressing to his audience.
Yeah.
Like, I'm being very emo, dude. I really don't want to be chipper right now. And I think that's a reflection of the times that he was writing this stuff, but I feel like he wants to do other stuff. And cause dude, I'm not going to lie, man. I was very, I thought we were going to watch this kid do like a Harry Potter thing, and every year he was going to discover more quirks or whatever. Mm-hmm. And the fact that the announcement like over a year ago that boom, we're going to wrap it up as soon as possible. I'm like, what? Like, there's still so much that could happen, like the world building in My Hero alone. Anyways, yeah, Horikoshi, I mean, I hope he can get some time, and I hope he can find, satisfaction and happiness in creating the story for us, and so thankful for it. But also, I hope he doesn't rush it. And if it takes him taking breaks and watching out for his health, like,
I think he needs to take that. He's very cryptic in how he explains things, and how he goes about saying his timeline, and it doesn't ever make any sense. And
isn't it like Akira Toriyama, where now he doesn't remember things that he did that are canon in Dragon Ball?
What is it? I think he forgot about. What was it? He either stopped drawing Tails because he forgot about it, or he just.
Oh my gosh, dude! Hold on. Yeah, there's like a ton of things that Akira Toriyama, like, he's like, oh, I wrote that. Like, that's a thing. Oh, yeah. I don't know about it. Yeah.
Yeah, but so Horikoshi, there's right now, I don't know, he originally it was supposed to end by now. It was supposed to be over.
Yeah, but I think all the
and now here we are. We're, I think they released a new chapter today.
Did they? Oh
Yeah, they've been
no.
kind of on a weird schedule lately.
He's been taking the many of the breaks, man.
And well, they have weird holiday breaks too. But like right now where the story's at, he's trying to give everyone backstories.
Dude, I know he's trying to move. There's so many knots that he has to like untie and unravel and explain to us and give us satisfaction in their story arcs for a lot of these characters. Like, we're supposed to find out who Deku's dad is. Like, I don't see where that's going to be a thing. Like, it is, but I'm like, the bouncing around that things are, dude. Oh man, that's why like watching the anime right now with the war arc has been so satisfying, and I'm so glad that they didn't do a movie so they could focus on this season, because the animation, the importance of what this arc means for the overall experience of this story and these characters is so important, so big, that I'm trying to share this thing to let's see, I'm trying to get this link, my bead.
I actually have a really great idea. If they did decide to do another movie in the future, this is what I think would be a great concept, right? So there's that time skip, right?
Okay.
There's a time skip between the end of the war arc and the beginning of like the Dark Deku saga, right? And essentially, I would love to see a movie where he, during that period of time, where he's getting his arm wrists, that would be a great way to bring Jessica Shield back into the mix from two heroes, because she was the one who originally gave him those gauntlets, right? That protected his arms from getting destroyed. And then during that time period, you could see him activate a couple of quirks that he gets during the time skip, and maybe just kind of go into more explanation as to some of the vestiges and things like that, because there's hints that Deku had already figured out user number 2's quirk. Because there's a lot of times where Deku is trying to use. Remember during that one period, Deku was like trying to use user 2's quirk, and he was like, "You can't use that right now." The arm braces. So I'd love to see him like do more like stuff with the vestiges. So I was like, give us a movie during that time skip. I would watch it.
Oh, dude, yeah, man. I mean, and that's where I think like. So my best friend, I got him into My Hero. He started watching it. We're watching it together, and then we get to a point where it was in between seasons, and I think it was after, when they go underground and they're fighting down there, and you see, like Super Saiyan Deku pretty much, and he's going through that whole experience, and Miria, and like that whole arc and all that stuff, whatever season that was.
Okay, the Shie Saikai raid.
Yeah. Okay, so in between that, like he went ahead and started reading the manga, and I like held out for the longest time, man, probably over a year. And he was reading the war arc in real time and stuff. It was just so crazy. When I caught up and read it, I was like, man, this is awesome. But so when I stopped watching is before Deku started developing all these quirks. But now that overhauled, exactly. Yeah, overhauled. But dude, it's like, that's when I felt like Horikoshi was like, I need to wrap this up. Because I'm thinking like, dude, there was a connection with the character of Deku when he was vulnerable, but then seeing him over time get stronger, this dude was breaking his arms, man. Now he's like, think about where he is now. He's got Black Whip. He can float. He's like this. It's like night and day, dude. Even Dark Deku, which is really cool, actually. I kind of like Dark Deku. And that isn't that coming anyway. Anyways, I digress. So it just a lot happened really quickly. And this is when the announcement that, oh, hey, I'm wrapping this up. I'm like, dang, I thought we were getting Harry Potter 7 like years, like the whole experience at UA. and they're only in like what? There's not even their second year, or they are there.
They haven't they haven't
What?
technically transitioned to second years.
They
but
have even. Oh my gosh.
They've held off on doing that.
Because of everything going on, like we're in the
Yeah.
finale, like it went Infinity War, Endgame. And I'm like, what? How?
Yeah.
So quickly? Like, dang, dude. Can I tell you something that I think would be really cool though for a finale?
Yes, let's hear it. I'd love to hear it.
I would love to see Deku share his quirks with some of the class. And the big message of My Hero is you can't do it on your own, that you need help, that you need to, you know, like the thing with All Might was that he was trying to do it all on his own. He was the pillar, right? Well, you see what happened with that. And when that one movie came out where he shared his quirk with Bakugo, there was background, you know, behind the scenes talk with Horikoshi about how like that was kind of his idea of how it was going to wrap up. And I'm like, oh, that would have been perfect, dude. Like I would have been cool with that. Like, you know, but you know, that's one of my favorite movies now too. Just that whole moment. Oh,
Heroes Rising is so good.
So good, dude. But that's
so
that's what we're kind of seeing though, right? It's like everybody's having their moment.
Yeah.
It's a big war. Everybody's peaking and their quirks are evolving. We're seeing that like even more recently with some of the stuff that's happening.
Yeah.
So I mean, I applaud Horikoshi for Deku had this big evolution with all these quirks, but his friends are also like leveling up.
Yeah.
To a certain degree. They're holding their own, you know.
Yeah, they are. The only concern that I would see with that is the whole idea that the all One for All essentially kills people who already have quirks. Do you remember that? Do you remember? Maybe we haven't quite gotten to that sorry, spoilers. We haven't quite gotten to that explanation in the anime, but it has been explained in the manga. So, do you remember in Katsuki Bakugo Rising where he was like, "You did not tell me how the fourth quirk user died.
Yeah,
you didn't tell me how he died." I think that was the Danger Sense guy. And All Might was like, "Well, I don't want to write anything down that I'm not too sure."
Yeah, he was like, he was like, I'm still looking into this.
Yeah, but then once again, spoiler warning. Sorry, guys. In a few chapters, in a few episodes, probably within maybe 2 or 3 episodes of this coming core, Deku's going to have a conversation with the Vestiges, and they're going to explain to him that you can't. It's like it's up to you now. It's up to you now because we can't because the quirk is too powerful that it will kill a quirk user who uses it. And there aren't any quirkless people left in the world. And the fourth user explains that he died at like 40 because he had a quirk. And that One for All was too powerful. Yeah.
Wow. I thought one of the users was about to die and passed it on just to pass it on.
Well, all of them kind of did that, but what happened with I still think that it was the fourth user is he went into hiding. He didn't fight All for One at all. He went into hiding to basically get strong, to add strength to the quirk. And I gotta, sorry, hang on.
You're good.
Hang on. Come on.
Outside. Oh, the puppies.
Outside.
The puppies.
Outside. She's just barking. Outside.
All these, the puppy problems, man. I heard puppies are a lot of work, dude. Shoji has been given some love. It's pretty dope, but you'll be thinking, why haven't they talked about this from the beginning? Yeah. So yeah, man, the power of friendship compels you. I love that stuff though, man. I don't know. The manga's kind of hit or miss right now, though. I kind of fell out of it for a second. Like I really did. It was kind of a weird, sad moment that I had to accept. I was like, maybe I'll only like some parts of My Hero. And maybe here is where the story ends, or this is what I love the most about these stories. And then especially with the last season kind of being there. So, that was watch. I'm not caught up on Demon Slayer though.
Yeah, Demon Slayer's great. Hey, my dogs are acting up. I got to go deal with them. I hate for this to be the way to end things tonight.
You're good. You're good.
Thank you everyone for tuning in. I really appreciate it. We will have we'll have more discussions in the future. My dogs are acting up. I got to take care of them. So I got to deal with business, that. So everyone, thanks for being here. Lucas, thanks for being here.
Yeah, anytime.
Sorry to rush it, but I got to deal with this. All right, later, everyone.
All right.